Welcome to Science Store online classes.
Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.
Good morning students, welcome to online physics class. We have been discussing about mechanical properties of fluid. In the previous class we have discussed about Venturi meter, correct? We have discussed about Venturi meter and Torsel's law. In both the cases we have used Bernoulli's principle. So we have also discussed about or derived the Bernoulli's principle or Bernoulli's equation. So now we are going to discuss about application of Bernoulli's principle. You know what is Bernoulli's principle? Let's recall that. Bernoulli's principle says that the pressure for a non-viscous incompressible liquid or a fluid, the pressure plus kinetic energy per unit volume plus potential energy per unit volume, rho GH is the potential energy per unit volume, because rho means mass per volume, is remain constant for steady flow. If a non-viscous incompressible fluid is under steady flow, then its pressure energy, kinetic energy per unit volume, potential energy per unit volume will remain constant. That is what Bernoulli's principle says. So what are the applications of this in our day-to-day life? So we will discuss about that now. So most of you, especially boys, you are very fond of vehicles, right? So many of you might be interested with the machinery of vehicles. So you might have been opened, or when you visit garage or when you keep your vehicle for a service, you might be having an interest to have a look over that. And so if you ever heard a word carburetor, right? Carburetor is a device at which fuel and the air mixture takes place, and then fuel burns, and that's how, using that heat energy, vehicle will convert it into mechanical energy. So carburetor works under this principle, that is Bernoulli's principle, and there is a Venturi meter or the Venturi meter there inside the carburetor. So how actually it works? See, there will be a tank or a piston kind of a thing, a piston kind of a thing. So this is a small outlet. So here is, this is a cylinder which is attached with the piston. So this is piston, okay. So when the piston is compressed, here air will be pushed outside, and here one more cylinder is attached which is filled with the fuel. This is filled with the fuel, and this is attached with the small straw kind of a thing. So when the air blows outside, I hope you are following me. So in carburetor or in your Bunsen burner, so in the perfume, everywhere this technique works. So in a perfume bottle, when you press, what exactly happens when you press, right? So the liquid inside comes out. How it is coming out? See, so it is similar. When you press here, the air in this portion will forcefully pushed outside. This is the direction in which air is pushed outside with the very high velocity or very high speed. For that reason, or because of that, pressure at this point will lower or pressure will decrease. So at the same point, this what to call it as, so this straw kind of a structure is also placed. So since the pressure here decreased, the fluid or the fuel here will be pushed outside. So here, that's how this liquid inside this container will come out. So in a perfume also same thing happens. When you press it, you are applying the pressure and you are decreasing the pressure at the nozzle of that perfume spray. So when the pressure is decreased there, the perfume inside the bottle will come out through the pipe which is fixed to that outlet of the perfume bottle. Similarly, you might have seen the spray, hair spray, and the spray which is used to kill the insects. So everywhere the same technique works. So the technique of venturimeter, when the pressure when the air is blown with the high speed, pressure here decreases. So when the pressure here decreases, fluid will be pushed towards the higher pressure area. In your syringe also same thing takes place. When you push it outward, or when you dip the syringe inside the medicine. So this is the bottle containing the medicine, okay, and let's say this is the syringe. Yeah, syringe is having a piston, correct? So when the piston is pulled outward and when this is dipped inside the container having medicine, what happens? This will absorb the fluid, or fluid will be filled inside this. Fluid will be filled inside the cylinder. When you push the cylinder outward, the pressure outside will be decreased. You are increasing the pressure inside the syringe. So liquid will flow outside. When you open the syringe or when you pull the piston outward, you are decreasing the pressure here. You are decreasing the pressure inside the syringe. ಸಿರಿಂಜಿನ ಒಳಗಿನ ಪ್ರೆಷರನ್ನು ನೀವು ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಮಾಡೋದು ಯಾವಾಗ ಸಿರಿಂಜನ್ನ ಪಿಸ್ಟನ್ನ ನೀವು ಹಿಂದ್ಗಡೆ ಎಳೆದಾಗ. ಸೊ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆದಾಗ ಈ ಬಾಟಲಿಂದ ಮೆಡಿಸಿನ್ ಸಿರಿಂಜಿನ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಫ್ಲೋ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಬಾಟಲಿನ ಪ್ರೆಷರಿಗೆ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ಸಿರಿಂಜಿನ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗಿರ್ತದೆ. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನೀಡಲ್ನ ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಡಾಕ್ಟರು, he will place inside your skin and he will push the piston. When the person is pushing the piston inside, you are applying the pressure inside the syringe. So pressure is increased inside the syringe. When the pressure here increase, the fluid inside the syringe will be pushed outside, because outside pressure is less. So it will be pushed outside. That's how the fluid will go out, or the medicine will be injected to your body. So your Bunsen burner also, Bunsen burner which you use in the laboratory, so that also works in the same principle. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿರುವ ಗ್ಯಾಸ್ ಸ್ಟವ್ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಸೊ ವೆನ್ ಯು ರೆಗ್ಯುಲೇಟರ್ ಆನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ವೆನ್ ಯು ಟಚ್ ದ ಫೈರ್ ಟು ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಟು ಬರ್ನ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಬರ್ನ್ ಆಗಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಶುರುವಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಬುನ್ಸನ್ ಬರ್ನರ್ನ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಸೊ ದ ಫೈರ್ ವಿಲ್ ಅದು ಕೂಡ ಆಫ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ, ಸ್ಟವ್ ಕೂಡ ಆಫ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಸೊ ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಈಸ್ ವರ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ಆನ್ ದ ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್, ವರ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ಅಂಡರ್ ದ ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಬರ್ನೌಲಿಸ್, ಆರ್ ವರ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ಅಂಡರ್ ಬರ್ನೌಲಿಸ್ ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್. ಸೊ other application, I don't know whether it is application or not, using Bernoulli's principle you can easily explain heart attack. What is heart attack? There are different types of heart attack, heart failure and all, correct? So during heart attack, heart failure means your heart stops working. Heart attack means what the functioning of your heart pumps the blood. Why it has to pump the blood? So the blood without oxygen will input to the heart, and by pumping the heart will fill that blood with the oxygen, and artery will take that blood with the oxygen, and veins will bring the blood which doesn't have oxygen into the heart, correct? Artery will take the blood outside the heart, veins will bring the blood inside the heart. So during heart attack what happens is artery should take the blood to the other part of the body alva. Heart inda bere body paartige artery ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಅನ್ನು ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಬೇಕು. ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ ಬ್ಲಡ್ಡನ್ನು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಬಾಡಿಗೆ ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಬೇಕು. ವೇನ್ಸ್ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಂದ ಹಾರ್ಟಿಗೆ ಬ್ಲಡ್ಡನ್ನು ತರುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಆ ಬ್ಲಡ್ಡಲ್ಲಿ ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಇರ್ತದೆ, ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ಡಿಫಿಷಿಯಂಟ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಸೊ ಪಂಪ್ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರ ಮೂಲಕ ಹಾರ್ಟ್ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ನ ಫಿಲ್ ಮಾಡುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಅಥವಾ ಪ್ಯೂರ್ ಇಂಪ್ಯೂರ್ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಕರಿತೇವೆ. ಇಂಪ್ಯೂರ್ ಬ್ಲಡ್ಡನ್ನು ಆರ್ಟರಿ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತದೆ. ಪ್ಯೂರ್ ಬ್ಲಡ್ನ ಆರ್ಟರಿ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗುವಂಥದ್ದು. ವೇನ್ಸ್ ಇಂಪ್ಯೂರ್ ಬ್ಲಡ್ನ ಹಾರ್ಟಿಗೆ ತರುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಸೊ ಹಾರ್ಟ್ ಅಟ್ಯಾಕ್ ಆದಾಗ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಆರ್ಟರಿ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಆಗುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಸೊ ಇವಾಗ ಮನೆಯಿಂದ ಒಂದು ಟ್ಯಾಂಕಿಂದ ಮನೆಗೆ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಯುವರ್ ಹೌಸ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಸಪ್ಲೈಡ್ ಬೈ ವಾಟರ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ಟ್ಯಾಂಕಿಂದ ಬರುವಂತಹ ಪೈಪ್ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಆರ್ಟರಿ ಅಂತ ಕರೆಯುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಟ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ನಿಮ್ಮದು ಹಾರ್ಟ್, ಟ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಈಸ್ ಯುವರ್ ಹಾರ್ಟ್. ಓಕೆ, ದ ಪೈಪ್ಸ್ ಕಮಿಂಗ್ ಟು ದ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಯುವರ್ ಹೌಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಆರ್ಟರಿ. ಸೊ ಆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇದನ್ನು ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ, ಪೈಪನ್ನು ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಟ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಒಡೆದು ಹೋಗ್ತದೆ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಟ್ಯಾಂಕಲ್ಲಿ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಇದ್ದು ಅಕ್ಯುಮುಲೇಷನ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಿ ಹಾರ್ಟ್ ಬ್ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ನೋ, ಹಿಯರ್ ಹಾರ್ಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಬ್ಲಾಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್, ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಸ್ಪಿಲ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಟ್ಯಾಂಕು ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆನೂ ಓಪನ್ ಆಗಿ ವಾಟರ್ ಹೇಗೆ ಔಟ್ಫ್ಲೋ ಆಗ್ತದೋ ಹಾಗೆ ಹಾರ್ಟಿಂದ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಹೋಗುವಂಥ ಆರ್ಟರಿ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಆದರೆ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಸ್ಪಿಲ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ, ಬ್ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ದಟ್ಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಹಾರ್ಟ್ ಅಟ್ಯಾಕ್ ಈಸ್. ಸೊ ಯಾಕದು ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಅಂತಂದರೆ, ಸೊ ಐ ಆಮ್ ವೆರಿ ಪುವರ್ ಎಟ್ ಡಯಾಗ್ರಾಮ್, you might be aware about it by now. So just adjust with that. If this is your heart and this is your artery, okay, this is your artery because of the cholesterol or fat ellagi, so adana plaque anta heli kariteve, that will accumulate in the inner wall of this artery inner wall alli adu accumulate ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಸೊ ಅಕ್ಯುಮುಲೇಟ್ ಆಗೋದಂತಂದರೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪೈಪಲ್ಲಿ ಕಸ ಕೂತಾಗೆ ಆಗುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಸೊ ಅಕ್ಯುಮುಲೇಟ್ ಆದಾಗ ಈ ಆರ್ಟರಿದು ಏರಿಯಾ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ರಾಸ್ ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಯಿತು, ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾ? ಆವಾಗ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಫ್ಲೋ ಆಫ್ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ತದೆ, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್? ಏರಿಯಾ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ರಾಸ್ ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಒಂದು ಪೈಪಲ್ಲಿ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಯಿತು ಅಂದರೆ ಫ್ಲೋ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಆವಾಗ ಏನಾಯಿತು, ಪ್ರೆಷರ್ ಡಿಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಆಯಿತು, ಆರ್ಟರಿ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್ ಡಿಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಆಯಿತು. ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ the pressure inside the artery will ಡಿಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಆದಾಗ ಆರ್ಟರಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಸ್ಟ್ರಿಂಕ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಇವಾಗ ಬ್ಲಡ್ಡನ್ನು ನೀವು ಕಳಿಸ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ ಹಾರ್ಟ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಪಂಪ್ ಆಗಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾ? ಹಾರ್ಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಪಂಪ್ ಮೋರ್. ಸೊ ಅಂದರೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್ ಹಾಕಿ ಅಥವಾ ಹಾರ್ಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಮೋರ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟಿವ್. ಸೊ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್ ಹಾಕಿದ ಕೂಡಲೇ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್ ಡಿಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅದರ್ ಔಟ್ಸೈಡ್ ದ ಆರ್ಟರಿ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರ್ತದೆ, ಇದು ಮತ್ತೆ ಸ್ಟ್ರಿಂಕ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಸೊ ವೆನ್ ದ ಹಾರ್ಟ್ ಟ್ರೈಸ್ ಟು ಸೆಂಡ್ ದ ಟ್ರೈಸ್ ಟು ಡ್ರೈವ್ ದ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಥ್ರೂ ದಿಸ್ ಆರ್ಟರಿ, ಸೊ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್ ಹಾಕಿ ಸೊ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಇರುವ ಔಟ್ಲೆಟಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಫ್ಲೋ ಆಗಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಶುರುವಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಹೋಗಲಿಕ್ಕೆ. ಸೊ that's how your heart attack takes place. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಯು ಮೈಟ್ ಬಿ ಅವೇರ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದಿಸ್. ಸೊ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇಫ್ ಯು ಈಟ್ ಬನಾನಾ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಅವಾಯ್ಡ್ ಹಾರ್ಟ್ ಅಟ್ಯಾಕ್. ಹಾಗಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಡೋಂಟ್ ಈಟ್ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ banana contains potassium, so that will avoid the accumulation of this cholesterol or fats inside the artery. So heart attack can be explained better with the Bernoulli's principle, or yes, even in your biology you can explain the physics principles. So what are the other application part of Bernoulli's principle? So you all all played, at least you all played, or you all still play cricket or football or basketball, anything. So have you ever observed, if you just throw a ball, the distance it traveled will be less than when you spin the ball and throw. ಒಂದು ಬಾಲನ್ನು ನೀವು ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಎಸೆಯುವುದಕ್ಕೂ ಸ್ಪಿನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಎಸೆಯುವುದಕ್ಕೂ ತುಂಬ ಡಿಫ್ರೆನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ. ಸ್ಪಿನ್ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಬಾಲ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಹೈಟಿಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತದೆ, ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾ? ಬಾಲ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಹೈಟಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಬಾಲನ್ನು ಸ್ಪಿನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಹಾಕಬೇಕು. ದ ಬಾಲ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಸ್ಪಿನ್ಡ್. ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಡಿಫ್ರೆನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ವೈ ಸ್ಪಿನ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಕಾಸಸ್ the increase in the height of the ball? If this is your ball and ball is not spinning, so this is another ball, the similar ball which is spinning, itara spin aagta ide. So spin aagta iruvantha ball, the one which is spinning will take the greater height than the one which is not spinning. Why it is so? So why? Because you throw the ball, so everywhere air present, air is a fluid, correct? So when you just throw without spinning the ball, what happens is, this is the air layers, different air layers, correct? This is different air layers. So air layers will be like this. When you throw the ball, the speed of air layers on the top will be equal to speed of air layers on the bottom. So what happens, if you throw it in this height, the ball will remain in the height and after sometimes it fall to the ground, correct? ನೀವು ಈ ಹೈಟಲ್ಲಿ ಅದನ್ನು ಎಸೆದ್ರೆ ಅದೇ ಹೈಟಲ್ಲಿ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಹೀಗೆ ಎಸೆದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ ಹೈಟಲ್ಲಿ ಎಸಿತಾನೆ ಅದೇ ಹೈಟಲ್ಲಿ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. If I throw it upward, it will go in the same line, it will reach the maximum height and then drop backward. So yake, because when I throw, it will move in the same height. Why? Because the air layers on top and bottom of the ball will remain same. So when I throw a ball like this, the top layer and bottom layer of that chalk piece will remain the same. What happens in the case of ball which is spinned? Spin ಮಾಡಿರುವಂತಹ ಬಾಲಿನ ಕೇಸಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ? ಸೊ ಸ್ಪಿನ್ ಮಾಡಿರುವಂತಹ ಬಾಲಿನ ಕೇಸಲ್ಲಿ ಲೋವರ್ ಲೇಯರ್ ಇದ್ದು ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಲೋವರ್ ಲೇಯರ್ ಇದ್ದು ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ? ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಇದು ಸ್ಪಿನ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಸ್ಪಿನ್ ಆಗಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಅದರ ಜೊತೆನೇ ಏರ್ ಕಾಲಮ್ನ ಅದು ಸ್ಪಿನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ. ವೆನ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಸ್ಪಿನ್ನಿಂಗ್, ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಸ್ಪಿನ್ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ rotate the air column along with that. But on the top, the layers will have greater speed. On the top, the layers will have greater speed. So this is how air column will look like. When the ball is not spin, air column on the bottom and top of the ball will remain same, so the ball will remain in the same height. But when the ball is spinned, you know what is spinning, right? So this is spinning. So there are two cases, just throwing. This is throwing. This is spinning. The object should be spinning. So when the object is spinned or ball is thrown with the spin, what happens is the air layer bottom of the ball will be having lesser speed. The speed here will be less. Speed here will be less, speed here will be greater. So pressure difference will also take place because the speed is different. Pressure difference will take place. So the pressure here will decrease, pressure here will increase, correct? So pressure here will decrease, pressure here will decrease and pressure here will increase. So then this will apply upward thrust on the ball. Therefore this will apply upward thrust on the ball. So this upward thrust is called Magnus effect. Magnus effect means any object which is spinning that will experience a upward thrust because of change in the pressure or difference in the pressure on the upper and lower layer of that object or top and bottom of that object. So it will experience upward thrust. So if you jump from the building, with the spinning, you will take a height and then fall on the ground. Because when you spin, the air layer on the bottom of you will have a lesser speed, so pressure will increase. Air layer on the top of you will have a greater speed, so pressure will decrease. So you will experience upward thrust. you will experience upward thrust. Upward thrust is called as Magnus effect. Magnus effect. Similar technique is used in aeroplanes. You see aerofoils, right? So usually even aeroplanes will be, let's say, of this shape. They will have aerofoils of this shape, correct? What is the use of this aerofoils? Airfoils are designed in a such way that they will experience this Magnus effect. Means when they run on the runway, they will have wheels. Then slowly they will take off and they will go to certain height, and from there they fly horizontally. On a certain height reach ಆದಮೇಲೆ horizontal ಆಗಿ fly ಆಗಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಶುರು ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ, ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾ? ಹಾರಿಜಾಂಟಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಫ್ಲೈ ಆಗಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಗ್ರಾವಿಟಿಯಿಂದಾಗಿ there is a chances of aeroplane falling down. But what is stopping it? This Magnus effect. Why Magnus effect? See, airfoils will be of this shape. ಈ ಶೇಪಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತದೆ airfoils. So air layers ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, on the top of it will be like this. Air layers. They will experience more speed, whereas on the bottom they will be like this. They will experience less speed. So they will experience upward thrust. So ನಿಮ್ಮ aeroplane ಆ ಹೈಟಲ್ಲಿ 1600 ಮೀಟರ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಹಾರಿಜಾಂಟಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಪಾಸಿಬಲ್ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಯುವರ್ ಬರ್ನೌಲಿಸ್ ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್. ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಗೂಗಲ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಇಟ್, ಆರ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ವಾಚ್ ದ ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಕಾರ್ಬೊರೇಟರ್. ಕಾರ್ಬೊರೇಟರ್ ಈಸ್ ವರ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ವೆರಿ ದ ವರ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಾರ್ಬೊರೇಟರ್ ಈಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಫನ್. ಸೊ ಒಂದು ಹೀಗೆ ಕಂಟೈನರ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಫ್ಲೂಯಿಡ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ ಅಥವಾ ಫ್ಯೂಯಲ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಈ ಥರ ಒಂದು ಪೈಪ್, ಐ ಡೋಂಟ್ ನೋ ಹೌ ಟು ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಸ್, ಪೈಪ್ ಥರ ಇರ್ತದೆ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್. ಸೊ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹಿಯರ್ you will let the air to pass. So when the air is passing with very high speed, illi pressure decrease ಆಗ್ತದೆ. So fluid will flow outside. Fluid is nothing but fuel. So fuel and oxygen will mix, and that's how they burn, and that's how your vehicle will run or operate. So these are different applications. So one is explanation for the heart attack, and why spinning ball will take a upward thrust. ಸ್ಪಿನ್ ಆಗ್ತಿರುವಂಥ ಬಾಲ್ ಇದ್ದು ಹೈಟ್ ಯಾಕೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಡ್ಯೂ ಟು ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನಸ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್. ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನಸ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ನ ಸೇಮ್ ಟೆಕ್ನಿಕನ್ನು ಏರೋಪ್ಲೇನ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಏರೋಫಾಯಿಲಲ್ಲಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಎಟ್ ಅ ಸರ್ಟೈನ್ ಹೈಟ್ ವೆನ್ ದ ಏರೋಪ್ಲೇನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಮೂವಿಂಗ್ ಹಾರಿಜಾಂಟಲಿ, they get to move horizontally because of Magnus effect or because of upward thrust experienced by this airfoils. And in the Bunsen burner, in the carburetor, in the insect medicine spray device or perfume, everywhere the Bernoulli's principle is used. In your perfume bottle and all, Venturi meter, it works as a Venturi meter, perfume bottle or insect spray bottle, everywhere the same technique is used. So this is the application part of Bernoulli's principle. We have been discussing about mechanical properties of fluid in our last class. In the previous class we have discussed about Bernoulli's principle. So let's recall whatever we have discussed in a previous class. So what Bernoulli's principle says? Basically Bernoulli's principle is all about flow of fluid, correct? It is about flow of fluid, especially about the steady flow of fluid. You know what is steady flow, you know what is turbulence flow, correct? So steady flow means fluid will follow equation of continuity. The law of equation of continuity is followed by steady flow of a fluid. So Bernoulli's principle says that for a liquid or for a fluid which is non-viscous and incompressible. Hello students, let's move to the next concept, Venturi meter. Venturi meter is a device which is measured to find out the speed of the object or fluid, not object, fluid which is under steady flow. It has got two devices. One is a pipe which is having two different area of cross sections. and another one is manometer. About manometer we have discussed earlier. So let me draw the manometer first. So this is your manometer, U-shaped tube, right? Manometer will be U-shaped tube. So manometer is filled with the fluid. Manometer will be filled with the fluid. So let's say manometer is filled with the fluid of density rho m. The density of fluid in the manometer is rho m. Okay. So now up to here it's the same pressure. So this height, let me take it as a h. The height here is take it as a h. As I mentioned earlier, there is one more device or a pipe which is having two different area of cross section. That is, one is bigger one and another one is thinner one. So that will look like this. So this is how it will look. So manometer is connected up to here. Okay. Flow of fluid is in this direction. Let's say area of cross section here is A1 and area of cross section here is A2, or you can take it as small a. Okay. What is the speed here? That is greater, which is V2, and speed here is smaller, that is V1. So let's say pressure here is P1 and pressure here is P2. Then pressure here will also be P2 and here will be P1. Correct? In the manometer, pressure here will be P1 because it is exposed to this part of the fluid, and pressure here will be P2 because this is exposed to this part of the fluid. Okay. So pressure will change at the different area of cross section. Here is P1, here is P2, same. So P1 and P2. Now, according to equation of continuity, because this is a steady flow of fluid, equation of continuity, according to equation of continuity, you can say that A1 V1 is equal to, or you can just call it as a V1 is equal to small letter a V2. A V1 is equal to small letter a V2. Now what is V2 is equal to? V2 is equal to a divided by small letter a into V1. Correct? Okay, let me call this as equation 1. This is equation 1. Now apply Bernoulli's principle here. What is Bernoulli's principle? So by Bernoulli's principle, you know what is Bernoulli's principle? Pressure energy plus kinetic energy per unit volume plus potential energy per unit volume is constant. Here you can't consider a potential energy because this end and this end both are at the same height. So potential energy is taken as a 0. They are on the ground, so it is 0. So now pressure energy plus half rho. So the density of fluid here be rho. The density of fluid inside the manometer is rho m. Half rho V square is equal to constant. That's what you have to write because they are at the same height. There is no potential energy. So what is pressure here? P1 plus half into rho V1 square is equal to pressure here is P2 plus half into rho V2 square. What is V2? Substitute that value. V2 is nothing but okay, A by A V1 whole square. Alright. What is, bring P2 here, P1 minus P2, okay, is equal to half into rho into A by A V1 whole square. When this comes here, it becomes half into rho into V1 square. So here half rho is common, V1 square is also common, take it outside, remaining is A by A minus 1 whole square. Correct? A by A minus 1 whole square. Alright, this is P1 minus P2. Now, talking about the manometer, P1 is the pressure here, P2 is the pressure here. What is the pressure difference in a manometer? Pressure difference is equal to rho GH in a manometer. So, rho here is rho M. So, G, H is the difference between, the pressure here is also P1, correct? The pressure difference is rho M GH. So, you can write that here. So, pressure difference is P1 minus P2. So, which is equal to rho M GH. You can substitute that here. Rho M GH is equal to half into rho into V1 square. A by A minus 1 whole square. Now, we want an expression for speed because venturimeter is used to find out speed of steady flow. So, V1 square we want to know. What is V1 square? Bring everything to the right hand side. When you bring half rho, it will become 2 rho M GH divided by rho. And what about these things? So, these are A by A minus 1 to the power of minus 2 because this is the, you should write the reciprocal of it. So, that's why I write minus 2. So, V1 square is equal to square root of 2 rho M GH divided by rho. Rho is the density of this fluid. Rho M is the density of fluid in a manometer. So, this you can write this way, correct? This you can write this way. You can simply write A by A whole square. So, then you don't have to write it this way. A by A whole square. This is minus 1. Okay. Now, so V1 square is this much. V1 is square root of this much. So, A by A whole square minus 1 whole to the power of half. Minus half means 1 by, or otherwise if you get confused with this, you can write this way. GH by rho divided by A by A minus 1. This A by A is square. This is the speed of fluid in a steady flow. Let me explain it once again. Venturimeter is a device which will be used to measure the speed of the steady flow. So this is the pipe on which fluid is in a steady flow. This is a small area of cross section A and speed here is V2. This is large area of cross section capital A, speed is V1. Pressure here is P1, so the pressure here will also be P1. By Pascal's law we know that pressure here at this height, the same height will be P. So pressure here is also P1. Pressure here is P2, so pressure here will be P2 because this is exposed to here. Now, this is in a manometer, pressure difference is equal to rho GH. The density of this fluid is rho M, so rho M GH. Going to this pipe, by continuity, equation of continuity, A1 V1 is equal to A V2. A V1 is equal to A V2, so V2 is equal to A by A into V1. By Bernoulli's principle, pressure here, kinetic energy per unit volume here plus potential energy per unit volume here is equal to pressure plus kinetic energy per unit volume plus potential energy per unit volume. I have taken pressure plus kinetic energy. If I take potential energy, rho G H. This is also in the same height, so rho G H. So that gets cancelled. So that's why I did not take it here. Okay, I just took pressure energy plus kinetic energy per unit volume. Pressure here is P1, rho half into rho into V1 square is equal to P2 plus half into rho into V2 square. V2 square means this much. Substitute that. So then P2 bring this side, and half rho V1 square is common. So take it outside. Remaining is A by A whole square minus 1, and instead of P1 minus P2, substitute rho M GH. We want an expression for V1, so do the cross multiplication, interchange. So you will get the final expression. So this is about venturimeter used to find out speed of the steady flow of an object. and potential energy per unit volume will remain constant. Correct? So let's write the equation of it. So according to Bernoulli's principle, pressure energy per unit volume plus kinetic energy per unit volume plus potential energy rho GH per unit volume. mgh is potential energy, rho gh is potential energy per unit volume. Half mv square is kinetic energy, half m rho v square is the kinetic energy per unit volume, remains constant during steady flow of any non-viscous incompressible fluid. So we are going to use this. Why am I writing this formula here? Because we are going to use this in today's concept. In today's class, we are going to discuss about speed of efflux. What is efflux? Efflux means outflowing of fluid. So if you have a tank of water and there will be an outlet connected to the tank. So when you switch on the tap of that outlet, water will start to flow outside. So that flow of water outside is called efflux of water. When you turn on the tap, water flows outside, that is effluxing. That is called effluxing. So speed of efflux, speed of any fluid flowing outside the container, we are going to measure here. So that is according to Torsel's law. Who is this person? Torsel is a scientist or a physicist. He says that flow of fluid outside the container is similar to the free fall of an object. In kinematics we have studied what is free fall. What is free fall? If you drop a chalk piece, if you drop a pebble, if you drop any object from a certain height, for example I am dropping it now. So this is the free fall of chalk piece. So free fall means any object falling down because of the gravity. So in a gravity, any object falling down is called free fall. So what is the speed of free fall? You have studied it in a kinematics. Also while studying gravitation, you have it is mentioned that speed of free fall or speed of any object during free fall is nothing but square root of 2gh. Correct? Square root of 2gh is nothing but the speed of free fall. If I drop a chalk piece from a certain height, the speed of this chalk piece will be 2gh. H means from which height I am dropping it. So from the same height I drop a pebble, the speed of that pebble will also be 2gh. If I drop iron ball, the speed of iron ball will also be 2gh. If I drop a feather, that will also be 2gh. But this should be a vacuum or evacuated room. So what does it mean? Then on a certain height in the chalk piece anna, pebble anna, iron ball anna, feather andre hakkiya gari na drop ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಒಂದೇ ಹೈಟ್ ಇಂದ ಒಂದೇ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಬೀಳ್ತದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಏನರ್ಥ? ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ ಫ್ರೀ ಫಾಲ್ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಇಂಡಿಪೆಂಡೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಮಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್. ಒಂದು ಕೈಯಲ್ಲಿ ಫೆದರ್, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕೈಯಲ್ಲಿ ಚಾಕ್ ಪೀಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಡ್ರಾಪ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ feather as well as chalk piece will reach the ground with the same speed. Feather ಮತ್ತೆ chalk piece ground ಅನ್ನ same speed ಅಲ್ಲಿ reach ಆಗ್ತದೆ. So why it is so? Feather light ಆಗಿದೆ, chalk piece heavy ಆಗಿದೆ, but ಅದರ speed during free fall is independent of mass of these objects. So that is free fall. We have learned so much about it. So Torsel's law states that any object or any fluid or efflux of fluid, efflux means outflowing of any fluid, is similar to free fall of any object. Free fall alli hege speed of the object is independent of the mass of the object. So ನಿಮ್ಮ efflux alli kuda hage when the object is falling out or the outlet of the fluid from the container is similar to your free fall. Speed of the fluid should be equal to the speed of the object which is under free fall. So ad hege we will prove that. So anything, any scientific statement that is valid only when you give a mathematical proof for it. So I am going to give a mathematical proof. When I say efflux of a fluid is similar to free falling, then efflux, the speed of efflux should be equal to this ಅಲ್ವಾ. efflux ಅಂದರೆ ಏನು, ಒಂದು ಕಂಟೈನರ್ ಇಂದ ಒಂದು ಫ್ಲೂಯಿಡ್ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಬರೋದು, ಒಂದು ಟ್ಯಾಂಕಿಂದ ವಾಟರ್ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಬರೋದನ್ನು efflux ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ. ಔಟ್ ಫ್ಲೋ ಆಫ್ ಫ್ಲೂಯಿಡನ್ನು efflux ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಕರಿತೇವೆ ನಾವು. ಸೊ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ ಆಫ್ efflux ಇಸ್ ಸಿಮಿಲರ್ ಟು ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಫ್ರೀ ಫಾಲಿಂಗ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್. ಅಂದರೆ ಏನರ್ಥ, ಒಂದು ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಫ್ರೀ ಫಾಲಲ್ಲಿ ಇರಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಅದರ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ ಎಷ್ಟಿರ್ತದೋ ಅದೇ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಹೈಟಿಂದ ಫ್ಲೂಯಿಡ್ ಫ್ಲೋ ಆದರೆ ಅದರ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ ಕೂಡ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಔಟ್ಲೆಟ್ efflux ಈಸ್ ಸಿಮಿಲರ್ ಟು ಫ್ರೀ ಫಾಲ್ ಅಂತ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಪ್ರೂವ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಇರುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಫಾರ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಲೆಟ್ ಮಿ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಅ ಕಂಟೈನರ್ ಆರ್ ಲೆಟ್ ಮಿ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಎ ಟ್ಯಾಂಕ್. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಟ್ಯಾಂಕ್ filled with water, closed tank, all right. This is a closed tank filled with water. So this is filled with water. Imagine a tank on the top of your or on your terrace. So this is filled with the water, correct. So water is filled up to here, up to here. This is the air column, correct. This is air column. So there is one outlet here. ದರ್ ಇಸ್ ಒನ್ ಔಟ್ಲೆಟ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ನೀರು ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಹೋಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಔಟ್ಲೆಟ್ ಇದೆ. ಈ ಔಟ್ಲೆಟಿನ ಏರಿಯಾ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ರಾಸ್ ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ A1 ಇದೆ. ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಏರಿಯಾ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ರಾಸ್ ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್ ಔಟ್ಲೆಟ್? ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ A1. ಏರಿಯಾ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ರಾಸ್ ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಹಿಯರ್, ಈ ಟ್ಯಾಂಕಿನ ಏರಿಯಾ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ರಾಸ್ ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ A2. ದಿಸ್ ಏರಿಯಾ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ರಾಸ್ ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಈಸ್ A2. ಸೊ ವಾಟರ್ ವಿಲ್ ಫ್ಲೋ ಔಟ್ಸೈಡ್ ದ ಔಟ್ಲೆಟ್, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್. ವೆನ್ ಇಟ್ ಫ್ಲೋಸ್ it will have a certain speed. The speed of the water flowing outside the outlet, ಈ ಔಟ್ಲೆಟಿನ ಮೂಲಕ ಹೊರಗೆ ಹೋಗುವಂಥ ಫ್ಲೂಯಿಡಿನ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ ಎಷ್ಟು? V1. ಸೊ ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಸ್ ಅ V1. ಹಾಗಂತಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ವಾಟರಿಗೆ ಫ್ಲೂಯಿಡಿಗೆ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ V2. ಸೊ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ ಆಫ್ fluid on the top here is V2 and here at the outlet is V1. So what is the height of the fluid inside the container? So what happens with this outlet? So this is the height of the water, and because of this outlet the fluid will start to flow outside, means this height keep decreasing. So the initial height of this fluid, that it be Y2. This height is Y2, the total height of the fluid. The height of the outlet, that it be Y1. Y1 is the height of the outlet from the bottom of the container. Then what is this height? This height is Y2 minus Y1. Do you agree with this? If outlet is at a height Y1 and the fluid is at a height Y2, then this length will be Y2 minus Y1. Let me call it as a H. Instead of writing Y2 minus Y1, just call it as a height. Height H is the height of the fluid from the outlet. H is the height up to which fluid is filled in a container from the outlet. Okay. So now the pressure here, let's call the pressure of the fluid here as a P. The pressure here is P on the top of the container. What is the pressure here? Since it is exposed to the atmosphere, the pressure at the outlet is P, atmospheric pressure. Pressure at the outlet is PA. So let me explain it once again. To prove Torsel's law, what Torsel's law says, according to Torsel's law, the efflux is similar to free falling. So speed of efflux is same as that of the speed of the free falling object. So efflux in a speed matte free falling in a object in a speed ಸಿಮಿಲರ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಟಾರ್ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಲಾ ಹೇಳುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಅದನ್ನು ಪ್ರೂವ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವೊಂದು ಟ್ಯಾಂಕನ್ನು ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಟ್ಯಾಂಕಲ್ಲಿ Y2 ಅಷ್ಟು ಹೈಟಿಗೆ ವಾಟರನ್ನು ಫಿಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. Y1 ಹೈಟಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಔಟ್ಲೆಟ್ ಇದೆ, and outlet in a area of cross section A1 and area of cross section of this tank is A2. Speed of water at the outlet is V1 and speed of the water on the top is V2, and pressure at the outlet is atmospheric pressure because it is exposed to atmosphere. Here it is a closed container, so pressure is P. Let me call it as a P. Now see, the speed of water here is very much, correct? If you have a tap at the bottom of your tank, so there water flow will be, water current will be very high. But on the top of the tank, the water is going down, but it is very slowly, that you can consider V2 is equal to V0, correct? As V1 is so greater than V2, you can take V2 is equal to 0. What is V2? V2 is the speed of the fluid on the top of the tank. On the top of the tank, tankiನ ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ವಾಟರಿನ ಸ್ಪೀಡು V2 ಅಂತ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ V1 ತುಂಬ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್, V1 ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ ಇಸ್ ಗ್ರೇಟರ್ ದನ್ V2 ಆಗಿದ್ರಿಂದಾಗಿ V2 ಅನ್ನು ನಾವು ಅಪ್ರಾಕ್ಸಿಮೇಟ್ಲಿ 0 ಅಂತ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಇಮ್ಯಾಜಿನ್, ಒಂದು ಟ್ಯಾಂಕನ್ನು ಇಮ್ಯಾಜಿನ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಸೊ ಟ್ಯಾಪನ್ನು ಆನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಟ್ಯಾಪಿಂದ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಬರುವಂಥ ವಾಟರ್ ಇದ್ದು ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ ತುಂಬ ಇರ್ತದೆ, ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಮಮ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಅದೇ ಟ್ಯಾಂಕಿನ ಮೇಲೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಪೀವ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ದ ಟ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ದ ವಾಟರ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್. Water level is going down, but you don't see the water flowing with a large current, ಅಲ್ವಾ? ವಾಟರ್ ಸ್ಲೋ ಆಗಿ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಬಟ್ ಟ್ಯಾಪಿಂದ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಅದರ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಲಿಟ್ರಲಿ ಫೀಲ್ ಇಟ್, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಸೋ ಹೈ. ಸೊ V2 is considered as a 0. Now apply Bernoulli's principle. Apply Bernoulli's principle. So what Bernoulli's principle says? According to Bernoulli's principle, pressure energy, kinetic energy per unit volume and your potential energy per unit volume remain constant. That means pressure here plus kinetic energy per unit volume here plus potential energy per unit volume here should be equal to the same on the top. So we will write it for the outlet. So what is the pressure at outlet? Pressure at outlet is PA. And what is the kinetic energy per unit volume at the outlet? Half into rho. Let's say rho is the density of this water inside the container. Rho into what is the speed at outlet, students? It is V1. So V1 square. I am writing it for the same formula. This is the Bernoulli's principle. So instead of P here we have atmospheric pressure. Instead of V here we have V1 plus rho into G into what is the height of the outlet, students? It is Y1. So let's mention that is equal to same on the top. What is the pressure on the top? Pressure on the top is P plus what is the kinetic energy on the top? Half into rho into V2 square. Correct? Okay, because speed on the top is V2 square, which is 0, plus rho GH. Rho is the density, G is the acceleration due to gravity, H for the top is Y2. So here V2 is 0. What will be the equation? The equation will be PA plus half rho V1 square plus rho G Y1 is equal to P plus half rho V2 square. So this is 0. So the whole term becomes 0. Rho G Y2. We know that Y2 minus Y1 is H. For that what I do is PA plus half rho V1 square is equal to P plus rho G Y2 minus this I bring to the right hand side, rho G Y1. Rho G is common. So can I write rho G into Y2 minus Y1? Yes. What is Y2 minus Y1? That is H. So you can take it. So half into rho V1 square is equal to P minus PA, because I bring PA to the right hand side, plus rho G H. Y2 minus Y1 is H. Okay. Now I want to know what is the speed of the efflux. Efflux, as I mentioned earlier, it is the outflow of fluid. Here where the fluid is going through this outlet. So you should your intention is to calculate what is V1, and that should be equal to 2GH. Let's check that. So V1 square is equal to P minus PA. So this 2, P minus PA plus rho GH, and we have a term half rho. When it comes to the right hand side, it will become 2 by rho, correct? So 2 divided by rho. So v square means square root of all these terms. So how can I frame this equation as v1 is equal to square root of rho 2 rho g h plus 2 into p minus pa. I just interchanged them, divided by rho. So divided by rho is here, so rho gets cancelled. Therefore 2gh. Rho gets cancelled, so rho gh is directly written. So this is the formula for v1. So now you may ask me, this is the speed of free falling object, but the speed of efflux we got it as square root of 2gh plus 2 into p minus pa by rho. But if your container is open container, this is not closed. If your cylinder is open container, then P is also equal to PA. Am I right? Correct? So, if P is also equal to PA, what does it mean? If P is also equal to PA means the container is open container. So P is also equal to PA, then V1 will be is equal to square root of 2GH plus 2 into PA minus PA by rho, which is equal to this term becomes 0 because PA minus PA is 0. 0 into anything is 0. So what is the answer? Square root of 2GH. Isn't it the formula for the speed of any object which is under free falling? Correct. So torsal makes sense. Torsal's law makes sense. So any object which is under free fall, its speed is as similar as the speed of efflux, or in other terms you can say that speed of efflux is same as that of the object which is under free falling. So free falling object will have a root 2g speed because any object which is under free fall, it is independent of its mass. So you might have seen these videos in your social media or YouTube. So any object, there will be a ball and a feather, bird's feather, and it is a evacuated room, and both the feather and ball, they left to drop, or they are dropped from the same height. They will reach the ground at the same time, and they will reach the ground at the same time, though ball has heavy mass and feather has lighter mass, because speed when you are under free falling doesn't depend on your mass. If you are a healthy person or if you are a very lean person, for both the cases your speed will be same as far as you are jumping from the same height. So this is about Torsel's law. Knowing this formula is important, and this knowledge about Torsel law or speed of efflux is important.
Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.